Hello. You have joined the live stream Lee episode for Thursday, May 27th, 2021. And I want to welcome you back to live stream Lee. The whole reason that I do these live stream Lee episodes is because I want to help your business grow faster. I want to help you make more money in a faster amount of time so that you have more time with your family and so that you can retire wealthier and retire sooner. Who doesn't want to do all those wonderful things? Of course, part of why you got into business was so that you could make a lot of money and retire. Another great reason to get into business is because you love what you do. Well, my purpose and my passion in life is to help small businesses grow. And one way that I do that is the software package that I've created called Apricot Rocket. If you're looking for customers, let me adjust this just a little bit. Here we go. If you're looking for customers, you're going to want to go to apricotrocket.com and sign up to get a free account. Apricot Rocket is a software platform, a lot like LinkedIn or Facebook, but our focus is to help businesses grow by attracting prospects and helping you to build a community with a relationship nurturing process as part of that so that you can convert those prospective clients into clients as effectively and efficiently as possible. So that's our purpose as an organization, as a software platform, and my passion in life. Now, passion is important, and I want to introduce somebody to you that's passionate about what he does, because he couldn't do this. He couldn't have been doing this for 50 plus years unless he was. Bob Hurt is a clothier. He's a corporate clothier, a branded corporate clothier. I'm going to turn this off for just a second and point over my shoulder at my wonderful model. And she is modeling a piece of corporate branded apparel that Bob provided. And I'm going to tell you right now, he's been doing it for 50 years. He loves the business that he's in, and he is doggone good at it. He is able to shortcut your selection process by guiding you towards the kind of shirt at the quality level, at the price level that you're looking for, and then help you get it decorated with your brand. Having your brand on your apparel helps to improve the professional consistency of your image across all your staff and helps you to become more profitable. So, I mean, that's why everything that you do should be measured against, does it help you become more profitable? Bob's a great guy. Go to livestreamlee.com, find his name on the right-hand side. There's a button that says Bob Hurt on it. Click there. Get in touch with Bob. Get a quote. Bob will do you right. He'll get you a good deal. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into our conversation for today. Today, we're going to be talking about marketing. It's one of the things that we spend a lot of time talking about. We're going to be talking about your marketing process. But before we jump into that, we do networking groups on a regular basis, and we have had a couple of great conversations. We do masterminds within the networking group, and we recently did a mastermind on the elevator pitch. So, the elevator pitch is a almost always, close to 100% of the time, way less effective than it could be. And so I'm going to provide you some tips on how to improve your elevator pitch. But first, I want to drive home one important thing that you need to recognize. When somebody asks you, what do? You need to realize they don't care what the answer is. I hate to tell you this, but they really don't care what the answer is. They're only asking you what you do to see how it can be leveraged into a benefit for them. That's really it, 100% of the time. Not 99, not 95, it's 100% of the time. People only ask you the question, what do you do? Because they want to see if there's a benefit that they can find for themselves. Now, in a business networking environment, the biggest benefit anybody's looking for is a way to turn your answer into an opportunity for them to sell you something and close a deal. That's 99% of the time what's happening. 1% of the time, they're actually wondering if you have something they need. But 100% of the time, they're wanting to know how, whatever it is you do, the reason they ask that question is not because they care what you do, but they want to find out if there's something in it for them, this conversation they're having with you. So just realize that. Everybody listens to what I call radio station WIIFM. What's in it for me? And so when you have the opportunity to give a 30-second pitch to somebody to answer the question, what do? You need to focus 100% of your effort on making the benefit that they get as attractive as possible. Do not do what I call feature dumping, to the dump, to the dump, to the dump, dump, dump. I mean, you guys probably have heard radio commercials like that for the dump. Well, you don't want to be a feature dumper. A feature dumper, and we've all done this. I have done it. I still occasionally do it. We all love what we do in business so much that we just want to tell you about it. So when somebody says, what do? We use that as an opportunity to just go blurb, and we just blurb into their lap everything that we can think of that we do, hoping that they'll find something in there that they like, and then they'll ask you a question. That's what we do because we love what we do. We love the technology. We love the technique. We love the features and the process. We all love what we do. They don't care. They don't care what you do. They only care what you can do for them in the way of a benefit. They don't care how you do it. They only want to hear about the benefit they're going to get. So avoid the feature dump. Avoid it like the plague. As soon as you start telling somebody about how you do what you do and you get all excited about it, they have lost interest because they don't care. I can't emphasize that enough. They don't care. They only care about the benefit that they're going to get out of the conversation. And again, 99% of the people are looking for a way to turn your answer into a sales opportunity for them. The other 1% are actually interested in knowing if you can help them in some way, shape, or form. So answer their question with a benefit statement and talk about something that's unique in your offer. Offer something unique. For example, you have a unique process. Now, your process, you might be, for example, an Edward Jones financial advisor. And I'm going to tell you the process that Edward Jones does is identical from one end of the country to the next, north border to south border. Every single Edward Jones financial advisor follows the Edward Jones process. But that doesn't mean that there's not something unique about it, because that thing that's unique is you. So I don't care what business you're in, you can always make a statement that says, and I do a unique thing. Now, the reason it's important for you to add some aspect of uniqueness to what you do is so that they'll ask the question, well, what's unique? What's different? They know 15, maybe 1,500 financial advisors. If you're an insurance agent, they know 15 or 20 or 200 insurance agents. If you're a real estate agent, I can go on down the list. It doesn't matter. Whatever business you're in, they know 15 people that do exactly what you do. So if you tell them what you do, they're going to tune out almost instantly because they don't know you. They know somebody else, and they're going to be much more likely to give their business to the person they already know. So you get nothing, absolutely nothing. You get no benefit for you out of telling them what you do. You only get a benefit yourself when they ask the question of telling them how you benefit them. and how you have something unique about you. Your whole goal in a elevator pitch conversation is one thing only. Get them to ask you a question. If you can get them to ask you a question, you have accomplished your first goal. You have started an engaging conversation. Now, I don't mean for you to be cute or coy, but you need to tell them the benefit you provide to people and that you have a process that's unique. And you want them to ask, well, how do you do that? Or what's unique about your way of doing it? Now they've asked you a question. Once they ask you a question, the last thing in the world you want to do is answer that question. Do not, under any circumstances, answer their question, because they are in control of the conversation when they ask a question. The minute you answer their question, you have lost control of the conversation. So when they ask you a question, immediately turn around and ask them a question back. Here's an example. You're a real estate agent. So you're at some sort of networking event or party, and somebody says, what do you do? Well, instead of saying, I'm a real estate agent, the minute you say I'm a real estate agent, they go, oh, I know 15 of those. I know what a real estate agent does. I'm not interested in your service. If I'm going to sell my house or buy a house, I'm going to choose somebody I already know, right? So don't tell them you're a real estate agent. Say something different. I help people find the place they want to live forever. Or maybe I help people find the perfect place to raise their kids. Or I help people find I help people build memories that are going to last a lifetime. Well, all of those are great. Now you haven't lied and you haven't been really coy. You do all of those things as a real estate agent. But the way that person that asked you is going to respond is, well, how do you do that? And when they ask, how do you do that? Then as a real estate agent, you can ask them a question. Let me ask you a question. What part of town do you live in? Now you've just found out what part of town they're in. You know, when they answer a question, you now have information to help you personalize your response. If you're a financial advisor, you might say something like, I help people make sure that they don't have to work at Walmart when they get old. Well, what are you talking about? Work at Walmart? You know, that's what you do. You help people have confidence. Come up with some unique way to say it. If you're a financial advisor, you might say, I help people make sure that they never run out of money through a unique process that I have developed. Oh, there's that word unique. Now they're going to want to know what's unique. What's unique about your process? Tell me about this process. Everybody wants to know about some unique process. They want to know about unique stuff. Okay, so get them to ask a question. Once they ask a question, again, don't answer the question. If you're a financial advisor, flip it around and say, well, let me ask you a question. How long have you been at the company that you're at right now? Okay, whatever their answer is, it gives you more information to talk about something. Now, you might be able to ask 2 or even potentially 3 questions before you answer their question, but you want to ask at least one question so that you begin a conversation. Now, once they ask you a question and you ask them a question back and they answer your question, whenever you're finished with that process, when you finally do answer their original question, answer their question and follow it up with a question for them again. Okay, this again starts the process, and as a person that has a product or service for sale, if you really truly want to use that engagement as an opportunity to get a client or a customer, you have to control the conversation. Engagement is key. Okay, now this is generally a great little sort of mechanism, process for your 30-second commercial. So I've just given you some great gold that is going to convert your introduction in a networking group or your engagement in a networking group to become way more effective for you. Now, when you ask somebody what they do, watch how they respond. 9 times out of 10, they're going to do a feature dump and then they're going to look at you like, did any of that sound good to you? Don't be that person. Control the conversation. Okay, next I want to talk about marketing processes. So here's the thing about marketing and businesses. There's a lot of people out there that have little tiny businesses and they never, ever, ever seem to grow. I'm going to tell you exactly why that is. Because they haven't figured out a process that generates a steady flow of customers. So a marketing process, you can look at a marketing process in a lot of different ways. But the general purpose of a marketing process is to start down the 5-step consumer perception process path. The first thing that you have to do when you're marketing, and this is something you cannot get a customer without awareness. You have to generate awareness. Now, awareness, when you're in the awareness generating stage, which is the very first step, there's a lot of things that you can do, but people cannot buy from you unless they know you exist. So your very first challenge is to cut through the clutter and get people to pay attention to the fact that you actually exist as a company. And it's more important than that. They have to understand why they care that you exist. So generating awareness is like that 30-second commercial. But in many respects, in many different media, you only have 3 to 5 seconds to generate a desire to know more. When people land on a web page because they found you in a search as a result of clicking on a link in Google or Bing and they've landed on your website, you have about 3 to 5 seconds to convince them to stay longer so that they will learn enough about you to be able to decide that they actually want what you offer. So you only have 3 to 5 seconds. That's kind of like the 30-second pitch, the elevator pitch that I just kind of went through. So the awareness stage is a complex stage. You have to cut through the clutter and you have to be able to generate an awareness, not just of the fact that you exist, but why they care that you exist. Then the next thing is you have to build top of mind awareness. Having established awareness is something that will fade from the prospective consumer's mind very, very quickly because they're constantly being bombarded with messaging all the time. And if you don't find a way to build upon that awareness so that you actually get top of mind awareness, then you're going to continue to fade. Companies like Disney and Apple and CNN and IBM have spent billions of dollars over many, many years to build the highest possible TOMA score, top of mind awareness. But the reason that they've done that is they know they cannot get a client-customer relationship with you unless you think of them when an opportunity for a computer purchase, a vacation, a Coca-Cola purchase, a soft drink. I mean, all of these kinds of things that you come to your mind, if you don't think of them, you're not going to give them your business. So they work really hard to continue to build on initial awareness to establish top of mind awareness. And incredibly important, they also work really hard to make sure that you think of them as the best choice for that. If you have kids, there's no place you'd rather go to have your kids have fun than Disneyland or Disney World. Disney is the place the kids have the most fun, and of course, families along with them. So Disney has built an incredible expertise or authority in the consumer's mind about being the best at children entertainment. Coca-Cola has built the reputation of having the best, most refreshing flavored soft drink that they're the biggest brand. But how'd they become that? Because They make you think of them as the best solution to your thirst quenching needs. IBM, if you're a big company, why do they sell so much to big companies? Because they've built a reputation with Watson and many, many other things that they do, that they are the most technologically savvy and capable organization in their industry in the world. I can go down the list, but it really kind of boils down to you want to be the Albert Einstein of your industry. And I say that because that's crystal clear. If you are a student at a university and you have to take a physics class as your science elective and you have two choices, you could go sit for a semester with Bob, the really brilliant professor, or you could sit in a class with Albert Einstein. You're going to choose Albert Einstein every single time because Albert represents the pinnacle of iconic excellence and authority in his field. You're going to go with Albert Einstein every single time. So you want to be the Albert Einstein in your business, in your industry. So you need to establish that level of authority in your industry. And then you have to have trust and confidence. People are not going to buy from you unless they trust and have confidence that you're going to be able to do what you say when you say and deliver results that satisfy their desire. What's in it for me? Remember, they want to know how you're going to benefit them. And in fact, that you're going to be able to do it, that they can count on you. So those are the 4 steps that lead to the purchase. 4 steps that lead to the purchase. That's the step 5. This is actually an incredibly insightful paradigm or model for how to handle and manage your marketing. You should actually stop and make a list of 2 or 3 things in each one of these 4 steps that you're doing to establish initial awareness, top of mind awareness, a perception of being an expert or an authority in your field, and how do you convey that people can have trust and confidence in you to deliver the goods they want. If you don't do these things, you're not going to land on step number 5, which is a purchase. You might occasionally snag a client, but you're not going to have a reliable process. So this is essentially what your process is trying to establish. Okay, so companies that are large and successful, they've figured out how to make this process work day in and day out, time after time, over a long period of time. There's a lot of individual sort of detail and research and thought that goes into each one of these steps, but this structure, this paradigm, will help you to craft a process that'll deliver what you're looking for. And I'm going to tell you again, you cannot have a big business unless you can solve a process or create a process that generates these 5 steps reliably day in and day out. Now, we have a few minutes left, so let's think about, for a few different kinds of businesses, how these processes are implemented in different kinds of industries. And the reality is I'm not going to be able to, in the next 6 minutes, lay out for you all of the things that you should think about for your particular business. That is a very detailed conversation that we would have to have, and I just simply can't do it, but I can give you some guidance on that. So let's talk about financial services. Again, what do people want from financial services? Well, they generally want the comfort of knowing that their finances are going to be safely protected and watched over by whatever service provider they're dealing with. Financial services can be a confusing world and is a confusing world for a lot of people. And so they're going to want to have the trust in you and confidence in you that you can deliver what they're wanting to have delivered. And again, that is that their financial assets are protected and nurtured and growing as well as they can. So if you're in the insurance world, it doesn't really matter. So what are some processes you can put in place? Okay, businesses generally fall into, there's a spectrum. Okay, on this end of the spectrum, Okay, get over here. On this end of the spectrum, the businesses that are just starting, they don't have very many clients. On this end of the spectrum are businesses that have been around for 10 or 20 or 30 years. Now, you would hope that if you've been around for more than 3 to 5 years, you've got a certain number of clients. And there's no doubt that referral-based business is going to generate the best quality client relationships or customer relationships. But when you're on this end of the spectrum and you don't have hardly any clients, you need to be able to generate clients. The conversation about a marketing process is different when you're new than it is when you're established. You still need to have a process, but it'll be focused much more on cultivating referrals from your existing client base. So generally speaking, there's sort of processes fall into sort of those two ends of the spectrum, and there's a mix in between. As companies grow, that mix and that focus changes. Now, if you're in the new stage of the business, you have to have crystal clarity about who has a problem, and you need to be able to focus incredible attention on a narrow niche market. For example, if you're in the insurance business and you provide, say, life insurance, and you provide life insurance to a particular type of clientele, you're going to be much more successful at finding that particular type of clientele than if you just do it to anybody. One of the worst things in the world you can say is, oh, I help anybody that needs. When you help anybody that needs, especially in a referral situation, if you're asking for referrals, the minute you tell me I help anybody, I can't think of anybody. I can only think of a specific person. So let's say that you help veterans. If you focus your attention on veterans, then I can say to myself, well, I know a veteran. I might be able to introduce you to a veteran. Okay, but more importantly, when you're in the front end of your career and you're just starting out, it's a lot easier to identify veterans than it is to just say anybody. So it might be that you focus on families with special need children. You might focus on newly married couples. You might focus on veterans. You might focus on elderly. I mean, each one of these niche markets has a different definition. They need different things. They pay attention to different messages. They're triggered by different imagery. All of them have the ability to be much more targetable than if you open too broad. So finding a specific niche is the way to go. I could go through each one of these different categories here, and quite honestly, I had intended to get much farther than I have, and we've already gone 28 minutes. So you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to carry this conversation on to next week. Come back on Monday, and we'll continue our conversation of marketing process design. We'll look at a few designs for some specific industries. I think that'll be a good approach for next week. So I'm going to actually do industry-specific focuses for 4 days next week. This has been a good conversation for me. I hope it has for you, and I hope you'll come back next week. Now, before we go, I want to talk about your end game. And when I say your end game, you got into business. You started your business for a whole lot of reasons. But one of them was somewhere in the back of your mind, you thought, someday I'm going to retire and sell my business. Well, when you get to that point, there's a guy you need to talk to, Bob Hampton. Now, Bob is a financial advisor who specializes in business sort of final event planning, if you will, not like graveyard planning, not that kind of final event, but, exit strategy planning. I will tell you, as a former CPA, I don't practice anymore, but I will tell you that the tax codes are complex, and there are ways that you can structure your deal when you sell your company, when you get ready to retire. There are ways you can structure your deal that'll dramatically reduce your tax liability. And Bob is both a CPA and a financial advisor. Bob can help you make sure that when your business is ready to be sold, that you can get the maximum cash value out of that business and avoid paying as many taxes as you can avoid paying to the IRS. It's going to help you a lot. Go to livestreamlee.com and you're going to find a button on the right side that says Bob Hampton. Click on that button. That'll take you to Bob's website where you can get in touch with Bob. He's not only a great person to talk to, he's incredibly knowledgeable about his business. And the sooner you talk to Bob about your end game, the better off you'll be, because there are certain strategies that you can only put in place well before the end game time gets here. All right, come back tomorrow. And by the way, in the meantime, go to livestreamlee.com to sign up for our community, or go to apricotrocket.com to get a free account on our technology, and let us help you grow your business faster. Thank you for joining today. See you tomorrow at 3 o'clock when we interview Mr. Bill Nye, Bill Nye the Science Guy. No, Bill Nafa. Bill is an intellectual property attorney. We're going to have a great conversation. There is so much about the world of intellectual property that to me is just fascinating. I think you're going to enjoy listening. And so come back tomorrow at 3 o'clock when I interview Bill. Cheers.